So I started experiencing comparison, self-doubt, lack of self-worth, and a lot of moments of self-sabotage. So I started to question everything, my goals, my values, and of course, my purpose. Am I really supposed to be doing this? It doesn't feel good anymore. It's not a hell yes. Hello friend, welcome back to the Awakened Entrepreneur Show. I am Juan Galan, your host, and I am so happy that you're here with me today because we're gonna be chatting about something that most people strive to find in their life, and that is your purpose, a real purpose, the purpose that God gave us for our lives. Because I don't know about you, but I know so many people, including myself, spend a lot of time looking for their true purpose, looking for some kind of meaning in life. Because to be fair, without a purpose, without something that makes you feel like you are contributing to this world in some way, life can feel very empty. And I'm telling you this because I've experienced it myself. If you've listened to other of my episodes, you know that at some point in my journey, I started chasing success instead of having a true purpose. And that just left me feeling completely unfulfilled and almost to the point of burning out. So today I'm gonna share the story of how I discovered my true purpose. And I'm gonna share with you 5 simple steps that you can start taking today in case you don't know what your life purpose is, so that you can understand why you came to this world, because I do believe that we all have a mission. Our souls chose this life for a specific reason. And the sad part is that most people live their lives completely asleep, never realizing that they have God-given gifts and a purpose for these gifts. So let's get started. I'm gonna take you back to the beginning of my journey. Again, if you've been following me for a while, if you've listened to my other episodes, you know that when I started my business, the IG Creator Academy, my goal was to help content creators, entrepreneurs, and business owners grow on social media. And back then, I thought that was my purpose. And it did feel fulfilling to some extent because I was helping people grow their online presence, to eventually grow their business, bring in more revenue, and help more people. Because at the end of the day, all businesses are created to solve some sort of problem, which means you are helping someone that needs to solve their problem. So as my business succeeded in the first year, I started focusing a lot on growth, revenue, success, and it started to make me lose sight for a time. I really thought that I was fulfilling my purpose by sharing my knowledge and helping others succeed. And it really seemed that I had found my path, my why. But 2023 rolled out and things started to change. My business was no longer as successful, and this decline started to reflect something deeper. I felt a growing sense of inner conflict and a disconnect with the brand that I had built and the direction that my soul was calling me forward. So I started experiencing comparison, self-doubt, lack of self-worth, and a lot of moments of self-sabotage. So I started to question everything, my goals, my values, and of course, my purpose. Am I really supposed to be doing this? It doesn't feel good anymore. It's not a hell yes. And now that I look back, it was very clear that I was not aligned with my higher purpose, with the purpose that God gave me for this life. So I started my journey. I started my growth and spiritual journey, therapy, meditation, journaling, and these practices really became my lifeline during this hard time. But most importantly, one thing that I noticed throughout this, a lot of the entrepreneurs and creators that I was speaking to were facing very similar issues. But the worst part is that many of these entrepreneurs ended up quitting because the burnout and the overwhelm were so big that they just couldn't stand it anymore. And that's when something lit up in my head. That was the first time that I kind of thought, maybe because unlike them, I had been able to go through this dark period in my entrepreneurial journey. And that's when I started thinking, maybe I have what it takes to empower, motivate, inspire other entrepreneurs that are facing the same challenges that I have faced. And this was the first time that I had this spark and that I had this feeling of true purpose. So fast forward to 2024, you know that at the beginning of the year, I was already craving a change. I had my successful business, my Instagram coaching business. I had launched the AI Creator Academy. Both businesses were flourishing and growing. I was getting clients. It wasn't easy and it was not flowing as much as I wanted because I was not in alignment with my true purpose. But things were working out. I cannot complain. I was craving a change, but the whole idea of pivoting was terrifying. It felt like starting from scratch and I had fear of facing judgment, financial risks. So for months, I stayed stuck in this thinking loop of should I or should I not? It wasn't until August when I had a chat with my coach, and I've told this in a previous episode, and she actually gave me the green light to pivot. And the moment that I made that decision, so many things changed, something in my mind clicked, and I was ready for it. So that's when I decided to move to Bali. And that decision became the whole catalyst to finally pursuing my true purpose in life. So in Bali, I met a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs. I connected with a beautiful Christian community. I reconnected with God and I built this beautiful relationship that I have now with God. And I met all of these people that were all building purpose-driven businesses. And it was so inspiring because each of them had a beautiful mission in their business. They were serving beautiful clients. And it was just really inspiring for me because I had been going on this journey for the past 2 years of really not feeling connected or aligned with what I was doing because I felt like my soul really felt that it was not what I came to this life for. I've said this many times in many episodes. I 100% believe that all of us, every single human being has a specific set of gifts, God-given gifts that are part of our higher purpose. When we discover what our gifts are and we align them with our purpose, magic happens. We start serving others. We start changing lives. We start changing the world. Imagine if everyone knew what their gifts are and everyone knew what their higher purpose was and everyone aligned them. We would all be serving each other. It would be such a beautiful collaborative community in the entire world because I would need your services. You would need mine. She would need mine. You know what I mean? Everyone would be helping each other in the most beautiful way. So that's when I started praying more to God, speaking to God. I brought him into my life and I understood that in order to really fulfill my purpose, I had to bring him into my business and I had to listen to all the things that he had to say to me, which one of those was to pivot and start a new program that was the culmination of all of these years of trial and error, of challenges, of doubts, and turning that into a new business that would help other entrepreneurs avoid all the things that I went through. And that's how the Awakened Entrepreneur was born. It was born out of my desire to really help other entrepreneurs in their journey to avoid burnout, to get over their limiting beliefs, to get over their fears, to find a spiritual practice that keeps them grounded, that gives them faith. Because that's really what helped me throughout my dark years as an entrepreneur. And I'm not telling you that that I don't have challenges or problems or roadblocks anymore. I do, but I've built tools and systems that allow me to face them in a more positive way and definitely not burning out and definitely not wanting to quit. So that's the story of how I discovered my purpose. And something that I want to point out here is that, as I said, I did not know what my purpose was at the beginning, and that is fine. So maybe you're in a stage of your journey where you're not clear on what your purpose is. That is okay. You're not meant to find your purpose when you start. Your purpose develops over time. Your purpose is a result of your stories, of your challenges, of the clients you serve, the recollection of all of these things. That's how you shape your purpose. And I didn't find mine until almost my 4th year in business. And guess what? I'm pretty sure that the more that I grow and evolve and my business expands, my purpose is going to change, and that is fine. We're supposed to evolve and expand, not stay stuck in the same place. So now I want to share with you 5 simple steps that you can start taking today to discover or rediscover your purpose. Because maybe you think you know what your purpose is, but after going through this exercise, you might have a change of mind when it comes to your purpose. Now, as always, there is a freebie that you can download in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, in the description of the video, with a couple of journaling prompts to help you discover your purpose. So all the 5 steps that I'm going to be sharing with you now are in this free workbook. You can grab it just by clicking on the link, okay? So the first step is to reflect on your pivotal moments, okay? If you are just getting started in your business, that is fine, that's okay. I want you to think of your pivotal moments in your life. It could be something that you experience as a teenager, as a young adult. It could be something that you experience in your personal life, in a relationship. It doesn't have to be related to your business, but I want you to think about all the challenges that you faced. How did you overcome these challenges? The roadblocks that you've had, the moments when you thought that everything was lost, maybe your biggest pain in life. Those moments shape your purpose. And remember that all of our storms in life become part of our story. And our story is our superpower, and it's a huge part of what makes our purpose. As you just heard my story, all of these things that I experienced took me along a path that allowed me to understand what my purpose was. So I want you to do a mental scan of your life and think about all of these things, write them down, and then see which one stands out, which one contribute to the world, which one, for example, is a clear example of resilience, of determination, of strength. Those are the ones that will be part of your higher purpose. The second step is to reconnect with your core values. As I mentioned before, when I started seeing success in my business and really lost focus of my why and my purpose, I also forgot about my core values. And to be honest, back then, all I wanted was more recognition, growth, success, sales, and those are not values, right? My true values came back through my dark times. Resilience, vulnerability, for example, that's something that I started really exploring with my community, and it was really, really helpful for me to be able to express myself, but also for my audience because they could see themselves in my challenges, and it gave them motivation to keep going. So think of, what do you value in your life that you want to bring into your business, okay? Again, do you value freedom, balance, honesty, authenticity, vulnerability? Your values are what define your purpose. The third step is to reconnect with your natural gift or your God-given gift, as I say, okay? I know this is challenging. For me, when I started my business, I thought that my gift was, or that my skill was to help other people grow on social media because I am good at growing social media business accounts. I'm good at Instagram marketing, but that doesn't mean that it's part of my purpose. It helped me finding what my purpose was, but it doesn't make part of my purpose. It's not a God-given gift. Throughout all of this, I discovered that my God-given gift was in serving and in listening. And how did I find this out? Actually, this is something that it comes very natural to me, and I never really thought that it wasn't something that came natural to other people. For me, I just thought that everyone listens. So I'm a good listener, and I'm also a good advisor. And my friends always come to me for advice and just to vent and to talk, and I let them speak, right? So that's another way in which I start crafting my purpose, using these God-given gifts of listening, of advising, and of teaching. So it was clear that I had to become a coach. But that's not the case for everyone. So I want you to think of your God-given gifts, your natural gifts. If you don't know what they are, think of, what is something that people always come to you for? Your friends, what type of advice, what type of questions do they come for? What comes easy to you but changes lives for others? And remember this, these gifts are divine design. They are not given to you by accident. They are given to you so that you can fulfill your higher purpose. So make a list of all the things that you know that you're good at. And then you can even ask a friend, like, out of all of these, what do you think is like my God-given gift? Something that you don't see a lot of people having. And I promise that by asking other people about this, you will understand what your God-given gift is. The fourth step is to realign with a higher vision. And I love asking this question to my students. What is your 100-year vision? Because when I ask them, what are where do you expect to be in the next 12 months? They gave me such big answers. It's like, I want financial freedom. I want more time with my kids. That's beautiful. That's amazing. But that's not a vision. Like, what is your vision for the next 12 months? And if you cannot create a vision for 12 months, imagine you're probably not going to be able to create something for the next 100 years. And stretching your mind 100 years is beautiful, because it's about the legacy that you want to create, the legacy that you want to leave, the impact that you want to create in this world after you're gone. And that is also part of your higher purpose. So I want you to think, with your business, where do you want it to be 100 years from now? What kind of impact has it created? How many lives has it changed? What is the business doing? This exercise is beautiful, and it's going to give so much sense to your higher purpose. And a beautiful way of doing this is literally by just sitting down in silence, dim lights, maybe some relaxing music, close your eyes and ask, if I surrendered all control, what would God or the universe want me to create? And stay in that thought for a couple of minutes and see what comes to you. And remember, this is something very important. Your business is not about you. It's about the mission that you've been assigned. And this vision transcends your life. And the last step is to respond with bold, faithful action. You're not going to find your purpose if you don't take action. You're not going to get results if you don't take action. And you're not going to fulfill your 100-year vision if you don't take action. Most people I work with always tell me, I'm waiting to really find clarity in order to take action. But my friend, the truth is that clarity comes through action, messy action. Take that first step and have faith in that what you're doing is going to create the impact that you were born to create. I do believe that in order to find your higher purpose, whatever you believe in, if you believe in God, in the universe, in higher power, I don't care, but you need to have a practice where you can connect with this source, with this power, with this energy, because that's what really helped me find my purpose. Yes, all my challenges and my journey and my story, they started shaping my purpose, but I didn't really come to the full realization of it was until I reconnected with God and I started speaking with God. Now, I'm not telling you have to believe in God. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. But you do need to have some sort of practice where you release all of this control, where you trust, where you can communicate with your intuition, with your higher power. And that's how you start getting the answers that you're looking for. And that's how you start shaping your true purpose. And that's also beautiful, because when you connect with a higher power, you don't need to find all the answers to get started. Your purpose will get revealed as you walk in alignment. Because as I said in my story, the reason why I went through all of that dark phase is because I was not in alignment with my purpose. But what's funny is that if I wouldn't have gone through all of that, I wouldn't have found my real purpose. So it's really interesting how it's all connected and one thing feeds the other. But anyways, what I wanted to remind you is that if you're feeling lost right now, you are right in the perfect spot to be found. And I promise that if you apply these 5 steps, you go through the journaling workbook that I'm sharing with you, you're going to have so much more clarity on what your purpose is. And friend, you've got this. You don't need to know your purpose right away. Your journey, your story, your process are what shape your purpose. Now, friend, and now before we go, thank you so much for spending this time with me again. I really enjoy sharing these solo episodes with you. As I said before, there is a workbook in the show notes or the description on YouTube. Download it, go through it, send me a message on Instagram, and tell me, did you discover or rediscover your purpose after going through this exercise? Now, if you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I would love if you would give me a review and a 5-star if you think this is worthy of a 5-star review. It's going to really help me push my podcast into new audiences and fulfill and share this mission and my higher purpose with more people. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, give those thumbs up, tell me in the comments, what did you think about this episode? Do you think you know what your purpose is? Are you excited to find what your true purpose is? And as always, friend, I will see you next week with another episode. I have a guest next week. I love those guest interviews and I know you love them too. So until next time, bye.